Dan McFarland has joined us. We're just saying how brilliant it is that Ulster have great strength and depth now across the positions. Tom Stewart being the most recent person to put his hand up, Dan. You must be really pleased with his showing tonight.
Yeah, very pleased. Look, Tom's a dynamic player. He's been great over pre-season. There's been a bit of a buzz around him in terms of the squad and what he's been offering. He got a really good chance to play against Dave Heffernan and scrum against Dave Heffernan today, and he obviously took his try well.
We know you're hard to please, Dan. What sort of score do you give that out of 10 tonight for an opener to the new URC season?
Look, I think Bobby Skinstad asked that question once, didn't he? But I'm not a big man on scores out of 10, Graham. So I'm gonna.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. Look, I'm very pleased with the result. I think a little bit frustrated with our accuracy. That might have been down to the fact that we only had one pre-season game, and obviously skill levels come under pressure in proper competitive matches, and maybe that's a little bit of it. But I would still have expected us to be more accurate around that, and that's something we'll have a look at, we'll address, we'll talk about, maybe try and tweak the level of expectation that we have at training potentially, but overall I thought we did a good job physically. They didn't get near our ruck ball, and our maul was strong, and we had some powerful running and some powerful tackling in there, so pretty pleased with that.
Dan, looking at the team sheets over the last maybe 4 or 5 seasons, and I would always be somebody that banging the drum about homegrown players, and looking at the starting 15 tonight, I think it was 10, correct me if I'm wrong, born and bred Ulster men starting the match tonight, a few more coming off the bench. It seems to be that below yourself in the academy, some of these young guys are coming to fruition now and been able to make the step up. Are you pleased with what's coming through behind some of the star men?
Definitely, Stephen. I think in terms of the way that you look at it, when you go from week to week, it's about performance, isn't it? You've got to win games, because if you're not winning games, everything else trickles down from that, all the way down to the amount of people that turn up at the ground. But there's also a long-term view, and that's around sustainability. Okay, and we're not a club that is going to be throwing cash like a Racing, and they can buy a team each year depending on what they need in those positions. So we have to rely on sustainability. So we have to be able to bring young guys through, not just for the performance level, but for the good of rugby in the province. You want people to be aspiring to that, and the more of the guys that they see who have come through their school or have played with their brothers or whatever it is, that lifts that feeling of that's something that I can aspire to, and that's great. But as I say, when it comes to the hard end of it, we select people to play at the weekend who we think can win.
Dan, how do you obviously the last couple of years Ulster have been banging on the door in the URC and in Europe and just not quite got there. This year, obviously, a few new faces in the coaching staff, a few new faces in the playing squad as well. How do you create something fresh? How do you create a new kind of emphasis and get the guys excited about the season with kind of the knowledge or understanding that they can get to that next step?
Look, I think in terms of confidence as to whether you can do that, confidence is built through building blocks of belief, isn't it? And if you've got to semi-finals and finals, and you've played to lose and lost by 1 point over 160 minutes, and you played a semi-final away from home in South Africa and only lost in the 85th minute, you more or less know that you can do it. You're not far away from doing it. So then it's just saying, well, what's the difference between not quite doing it and doing it? And you address that in pre-season. So it's not about baby out with the bathwater. It's about the specific small things where you can make those tiny differences. You've got to remember, only one team wins it every year. There's 16 teams in our league. Most of them start the season with the belief that they're the one that can do it, and they're probably not far wrong. There's a chunk of the teams that could win it this year if a little bit goes their way. So we attack in pre-season. We say, look, this is where we didn't quite get it right last year. We're going to make sure we address this over the course of the season, and we'll see how it pans out.
Dan, final question for me. It's slightly tongue-in-cheek. I know everyone was very excited to see the two wingers that you were able to start with tonight. You must be pleased that Robert Balakoon is now getting the opportunity to show that he can play at a higher level against the Pumas and other sides like that down in South Africa.
Graham, I'm not going to get drawn on that, and I'm not big on the old sarcasm either. From my perspective, I enjoy yours.
Thanks.
But look, we're focused totally on Scarlets. we got a group of players that we'll select from next week. They'll have a really good chance to put their name forward for what we're doing in Ulster. And the guys who are going to be in South Africa, they made really good progression over the last 3 or 4 months with us, and I hope that continues when they're down in the Southern Hemisphere.
Well answered, Dan. Thank you.